Do you like to play video games at events or conventions, but disappointed because there's no accessibility? Me too. I was just at PAX East, and I am so blown away by the creativity of all the video games that I got to see and just watch people play across the entire expo floor. There was so many games that people were showing off, and I loved seeing that always at PAX. I've been going to PAX since 2013, and video games and indie games that are available to play on the show floor is amazing. And I like to be able to go to events as well, like Summer Game Fest, or I love to be able to go to maybe Gamescom or any other PAX West or any other kind of convention that there is video games available to be playable by fans. The problem is, and this is something that I have been seeing a lot of, and as someone who is covering games and trying to be able to play games as a content creator and trying to create content around the event that I'm going to, the thing that honestly is kind of what the purpose of me being there for, the common thing I keep hearing from the developers and from people at these booths or demo stations is that there isn't any accessibility that's available on the show floor. Or we can't talk about the accessibility as of yet. Now, I understand all of the technical reasons as to why. When you're trying to create, as a developer, a vertical slice that is as bug-free as possible to make it an enjoyable experience for fans, because you're having your ultimate play test of people coming up and playing your game. You don't want a game to be broken. And oftentimes, accessibility really kind of actually sometimes really digs deep into the game design itself. And sometimes there are features that are not ready yet. I understand that as, someone who works with developers on a regular basis. But as also someone who is a creator in the space and who works in the media side as well, I am finding consistently a lot of the games that I want to talk about and promote and saying, hey, this might be a game worth checking out, I'm not able to because I don't know what the accessibility is going to be like. Now, because I'm a consultant, I can be able to sort of glean information without really seeing any of the settings or take a look at some of the, like how the game is designed and played, that I can kind of tell just sort of in a way baked in accessibility without really anyone sort of telling me that it's accessibility. And I try to, be positive or as positive as I can be towards that, because, hey, it's something that is there that it may not have been an actual conscious choice to be able to have that and it be accessible, but hey, it's part of the design. It's cool. It looks great. Love that. But I want to encourage developers or those who are trying to be able to create games and are trying to promote games at conventions, because this is something that I know that you're trying to be able to drum up interest for. You want people to wish list your game. And these conventions like PAX or Summer Games Fest, and you're paying a lot of money to be there, you want to get as much foot traffic as possible. And as I'm seeing people with disabilities going to these conventions, I saw an amazing amount of the disabled community at PAX East this year. But I can tell that when they try to go to these demo stations and try to play games, there's just nothing there. Maybe the occasional remapping of controls, but that's kind of really it. And I'm not knocking a developer about this. I understand it's hard to be able to design anything, especially for these specific events. But I want to encourage folks to, if there are accessibility features that you want to include in your game that are almost ready for players to play, I would encourage you, even if it's not fully accessible for this vertical slice you're showing off at these events, have something in there that players can be able to go in and and be able to customize to try to be able to see if they can be able to play it beyond just the being able to remap controls. Remapping controls is great. Love that. Works great for a lot of motor disabled players, and they can be able to go in and tweak it and customize it to whatever they feel like they can be able to be more comfortable with in order to be able to play. But having options like subtitles or the ability to be able to increase the text size or the HUD, or adding a visualization as default when if there's anything off screen, because you can't really hear the sound effects because you're in a very huge crowded room and there's so much sound going on, and you may not be able to hear all the audio cues properly. So having a visualization on screen can be able to help those players know that something's about to attack them off screen. Like some things like that would be beneficial to be able to showcase, not only just, for those players that at the convention, but also be able to drum up interest from those who are disabled in the disabled community and be like, hey, I checked out this game at PAX East. This looks like it could be a great game for accessibility. And that could be able to be almost in a way a built-in word of mouth marketing opportunity. And we need to see more of that because, again, I've talked about this many times before, but oftentimes disabled people are left out of all the hype and the marketing that goes into promoting a video game because we don't know if we're going to be able to play it. And oftentimes we still don't know we're going to be able to play it even when the game is launched because there's no accessibility information released beforehand. But as we kind of go back into kind of the normalcy of going to conventions and events like Summer Game Fest, where you have a lot of attention being brought to you to play your game, I encourage developers, start adding accessibility into those demos. Start releasing those demos to see if, to give us enough time to be able to figure out, can we actually be able to play this game? Because if disabled players can find out even later that they can and they can play it, and now that basically you have a fan that's excited for your game to come out. And the disabled community are massive. A lot of people think it's just the 1% or less than 1% of the gaming population, but that is overwhelmingly false. There is a large group of players that are not being served and are being missed in potential marketing opportunities to be able to promote your game to that audience. So I encourage those who are going into the future, whether that's going to Summer Game Fest in June or IGN Live or Gamescom or PAX Unplugged. I don't know if there's any games at PAX Unplugged. I know it's tabletop. Any kind of convention that is going to have the ability to be able to set up a demo space for people to be able to play your game, please start looking into making sure that when you're building your demo, start adding in some of the accessibility that you're already working on. Because I can guarantee you'll be able to find a lot more fans than you realized. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.